Hey, and welcome back to CC Convos and happy first day of fall. Today here in Texas it is like 100 degrees, but I made some pumpkin pies to celebrate. I'll insert it here. I made a little short about it.
Get that brulee on there. Wow.
So we're just gonna sit down and have a little discussion, kind of like if I was talking to one of my friends, and we're gonna talk about how to keep cats away from your plants or keep them from messing with your plants. So I have two cats and I've had them for close to 2 years and I've tried everything. So when I first moved into my apartment, I had about a 5 or 6 foot Monstera plant, and my kitten, I had a little orange kitten at the time, he loved to jump up on it, slap it, mess with it. He's knocked it over tons of times. So I was like, okay, how do I keep him from messing with this plant? So I put foil on it, and for maybe one day it kept him off of it, and then he was messing with it again. I put like a little metal like chicken wire around it, and he just jumped over it. And then I tried like sticky tape or like fly tape, and I mean, it kind of kept him away, but it was horrible if he did jump in it. So probably like the first time he didn't know what it was, and so he accidentally got into it and it stuck to his foot and he went crazy. Like when they get stuck to like a sticker or some sort of sticky thing, they run around like crazy. So then he's knocking things over, he's freaking out, and I had to get like olive oil to loosen the stickiness and get it off his foot. So honestly, it was more hassle than helpful. For a while, I used compressed air, thinking like maybe if I scare the cats, like not spraying them with the air, but if I scare them by spraying around them with the loud noise, that it would deter them. But the issue is this won't always happen because there'll be times when you're not at home and they'll learn real quick, like, oh, I can jump on here when you're not home and nothing happens. But if I jump here by this plant when you're home, then that loud noise. So, I mean, they're still gonna mess with it, maybe just when you're not there. So, honestly, it came down to two things that worked the best. And one of them would be cayenne pepper or like chili pepper. So I have an orange cat and he thinks he is always hungry even when he's not. And so he loves to just chew on plants. And he's very smart. Like this Hoya up here, he knows that it's non-toxic because he's like obsessed with that plant. But I rub the leaves with like chili oil or cayenne pepper, and that one's really good because even if he gets bored and he's like, wow, like my mouth is bored, I need to go eat something, he can go bite it, but he won't like keep gnawing at the leaves and destroy it because it has the little chili flakes all over it. So I just use the dry seasoning, and I'll get like a damp paper towel and I'll sprinkle the seasoning on it, and then I'll just rub it on the leaves. I'll kind of show you. I've noticed that that is probably the most effective, especially for plants that they like love and they know that it doesn't have like toxins in it. So they know they're not gonna die if they eat that Hoya. But other plants, they might kind of nibble it and it burns their mouth, and so they usually don't mess with those again. But the other tip would be just to give your cats attention. So a lot of times I feel like my cats, they will act up and like slap my plants, or my girl cat will even go up to the plant and go, like, are you looking at me? Are you looking at me bite your plant? And it's really hard to ignore this behavior, especially when you don't want your plant to get tore up or messed up. But honestly, the best thing for me has just been when my cat does this attention seeking behavior with like slapping the plants or getting near them or trying to get in the soil, is just acting like I don't see them, getting up, walking to another room, and then usually they'll follow me. When they're being good and they're not acting up, then I'll give them attention to kind of reward the positive behaviors and ignore the negative ones. And then eventually, if you're consistent, they'll just quit doing it. And try and give your cat some like enrichment. For me, my cats love treats, so I'll sit down and we'll do like little tricks. So I've taught my cat to sit, spin, kiss, high five. You can teach them little tricks or different things so that they can kind of learn manners, but also it kind of helps their brain, and I don't know, it's a good enrichment. And my cats are super active, so we play at least 1 to 2 hours a day with like a little feather toy or something simple. So my cats love the really cheap toys. This little mouse toy. Look, get on my way back.
Good boy.
Give me mamita. Hey, Papa. From Walmart, it's like $1. Is my boy cat's favorite toy. Every morning I wake up and that mouse is underneath the door. I see on my little camera him running around. It's like slapping it around, and then he'll pick it up and hold it in his mouth. He also really like Q-tips, string, but I always play string like with them, not left out. And my girl cat loves the little mini washi tapes, and so she'll play with those. And then I just get like string and little feathers and tie that and we'll play. Or I bought like a dollar store, like it was like $1 toy on sale at Target, and it had like ribbon, feathers, and a little bell. And recently they love that toy with the bell. So as long as you're playing with them for a good amount of time where they get your attention and they're not seeking it by acting up. So I've been playing around with the layout of my plants, and I'm going to show you a quick little tour of kind of some different things I've done and updates on plant growth. So this here was a project that I did a couple weeks back where I trimmed this huge pothos, and then I propagated all the vines that I've trimmed, and I just used command hooks to adhere the vines to the wall to kind of frame the window, and then I used some plant velcro to connect the vines to each other. The only issue with this plant is when I have to water it, I can't necessarily take it down because it's hooked unless I like unhook it, but I feel like that's a lot. So I'm gonna have to maybe have like 2 people or like tape a cup right here. So when I water it, it like goes in the drip cup. This is my rubber tree, and it was actually like it's 3 different plants, and they were growing out like this. So I got some plant velcro and kind of connected them. I'll try and show you that here. There's the plant velcro back there. And I recently sprayed all of these plants with neem so they're nice and shiny. There's been a lot of new growth on this rubber tree. This is one of the newest leaves, so it has a nice like pretty reddish pink on it. This is a new Hoya that I got, and it's called this. I put it here on this shelf because it gets really good light, and so I'm hoping that it's gonna grow really good for me in this area. This is the plant that my boy cat is obsessed with, like nibbling, especially when he wants his chicken. So he's learned this new thing where if he wants chicken, he'll slam the kitchen cabinets, but now he will nibble on these. So I put some chili pepper on these. And so far, so good. He's not a spicy boy, so I think it'll be okay. Something really cool in this area that I just got was museum wax or museum putty, and it's like the quake hold one, so that's actually what this is. And it keeps your pot secured so that you don't have to worry about your cats playing chase and accidentally knocking it over. So I did the same here. I did the pot to the stand and the stand to the floor. And I think what I'm gonna do next is maybe get some like bigger stones and place it on the top of the soil. This is a pretty cool area. So this is actually like a kitchen cabinet that we got for free. And we turned it sideways, and then I had these lights that were in my apartment, I guess from a previous tenant. So I just moved them, and this, it's kind of like a little shelf. So we put our terrariums here, this little rubber tree, little pilea plant, as well as this Hoya kokedama that I need to mist today, but it has another leaf coming. This is a pitcher plant with some moss and this little terrarium. And that is just some moss and like ferns. But that little stand is across from some windows, so it does get light during the day, but then it looks really cool with those little lamps at night. Did you look at the light and get it in your eyes? You were kind of squinting. You get it in your eyes? What happened? You don't know. And up here, my staghorn fern mount. And I ended up finding this plant at Lowe's for like $7. And I brought it home. I got this piece of wood. It's like birch plywood from Lowe's. And then I sprayed it with a little bit of like waterproof fixative. I put sphagnum moss around the base of the plant. Then I went outside and I got some sheet moss that I put around. And I adhered it with some string on some little nails. And it's been doing really well. I just spray it every couple of days. I'm actually gonna spray it today. It's got some new growth coming in here. So it looks really nice over here. I moved my Monstera Tie over here. So this is like a south facing window. And as the seasons change, I think it's gonna do a lot better here since it's gonna have more lighting. As well as where it was previously, it was facing the window, so I never saw the front side of the leaves. I always saw the back side. But since this window shines in this way and the light is always hitting that wall, I think that it might continue to grow with the leaves facing out so I can enjoy them in my bedroom. This plant has been doing really good root-wise. The roots look amazing. It's probably gonna need to have a new repot soon, but the only issues is at the bottom here. So you see how this bottom leaf is yellowing, and it is yellowing pretty bad. And I noticed a little yellowing bit up here. And so I don't think it's root rot, but I think that, yes, those are the oldest leaves, but I wasn't fertilizing that plant. And honestly, it was because I was scared. I had a Monstera Tie before that ended up getting root rot, but I had fertilized it and I burned it pretty bad. So I don't fertilize any of my plants, but I've been doing some research and I'm trying to get into it because I've switched my potting mix from like Miracle-Gro regular potting mix to like peat moss, perlite, sphagnum moss, some things that are really like light and airy, but they have no nutritional value. So that soil medium is really good because I don't have like pest issues with it, and it's been really like beneficial for the roots. But now I need some sort of nutrient. Since this plant grew pretty fast and the newer leaves are pretty big and it has tons of roots, I think it's taking a lot of the energy from these bottom leaves. So I just ordered some like plant nutrients that I'm gonna try out. These are my philodendron splendid cuttings, and I had bought it as one cutting and it was this leaf and this leaf, but I think they might have rooted it like on a moss pole because it had two rooted growth points. And I was like, well, how am I gonna plant this in soil? Because for both of the roots to touch like the potting soil, one of the leaves would be buried. So I ended up cutting it and made 2 cuttings, and one of them I put in some sphagnum moss and I mixed in a little bit of worm castings, and these roots are doing really great. And it's given me this little leaf, as well as this is the newest one, and it's definitely sized up. But what's really weird is this right side of the leaves all have like some sort of damage. So you see this one, it is kind of funky on the right side, and then this one is also weird, but only on the right side. So I didn't know if it was like some sort of bug or something. So I sprayed it with neem really well, and it has like a new leaf that's coming out. That one looks a little bit damaged, so we'll see how it turns out. This was my other cutting that I decided to pot in some soil, and it's growing a little bit slower. These are the original leaves. I don't know if it's like stress or it's just old or whatnot, but it's turning yellow. This one got sprayed with neem as well. This was the other little leaf that came out, and this one looks really nice, like it doesn't have anything wrong with it. And then it has this new leaf that's about to unravel, and this one's gonna be a lot bigger, so it's gonna be kind of similar to this one's size. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something new that you can implement to maybe keep your cats off of your plants. And I'll be keeping you updated on my fertilizing journey as I try different fertilizers to see what works best for me.